Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Shib and Rita will be doing my TBR for a bunch of readathons that I'm participating in for October. So anyways, let's just get right into it. So I don't know what I was thinking, guys, when I decided to sign up for not just one, not two, not three, but 4 freaking readathons, and here we are, guys. And I'm actually so exhausted because I literally just finished filming my flip through for the month of October for my bullet journal, because as you guys know, I actually started my bullet journal recently for the month of September, and I was like, let me actually start to do a flip through for October. So that's what I just filmed, and I am so tired. Like, I just didn't realize how exhausting it is. But that's not what this video is about, guys. This video is going to be about the readathons that I'm participating in. So there are 4 readathons that I decided to participate in just because 3 of them are Halloween related and one of them is completely random, but my friend Carrie is the one organizing it, so I wanted to participate to support her. So that's kind of the reason why I'm doing that one, but there's 4. So anyways, so I think the way how I'm going to do it, because there's 4 readathons, is I'm going to go through each one separately and then go down the details for them, as well as which books and challenges will be pertaining for each one. So the first one that I'm going to tackle is the Very Merry Burton Halloween one, and this one lasts the entire month of October, so October 1st to October 31st. I will include all the information down below, but there's a very nice little image here which I will include right here. So this one looks very simple because it's only 9 challenges and it doesn't look that difficult. The first challenge is read a book with a number in the title. So this one I'm gonna go with You're the One That I Want by Giovanna Fletcher. You're the One. This is what I want to do for this one, and this is a contemporary adult romance novel, and that's kind of all I remember about it. I think about this woman who is at the altar with this guy, but it turns out that she may actually like the best man instead, and there's some sort of like love triangle going on, and that's kind of all I remember about this book. But it looks pretty interesting. It looks like it'd be a fun read, and I feel like I do need something kind of fluffy-ish because I have a lot of fantasy, actually just like fantasy on my shelf right now, and that's a lot. So yeah. Then the next challenge is read a mystery, thriller, or romance. So this one's actually one of the easiest ones just because there's just so many, but I'm gonna go once again with You're the One That I Want by Giovanna Fletcher. A lot of these books, as you will notice, is that I'll be doubling, tripling, even quadrupling up because I need to somehow manage this because there's just so many readathons. Then the third challenge is read a book within a trilogy. So I have a number of choices here. I have 4 choices that I will kind of decide on. The first one will be either Crazy Rich Asians book number 2, which I don't remember the name of. I'll put an image here. This one is just the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians, and I enjoyed the first one. Haven't picked up the rest of the books yet, but I really want to finish the series sometime at the end of this year. Then the second choice will be Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This one is book 1 of this trilogy. There's technically like 2 trilogy, but I believe the second trilogy takes place like 100 years later or something like that, so I'm gonna go off the first original trilogy, which is this is book 1. Then option number 3 is Scythe by Neil Strisham, and this is book 1 in the Arc of Scythe trilogy, I believe. Book 3 is coming out end of this year, I think November, so I definitely want to start reading that as well. Then the 4th option is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is also book 1 of a trilogy. So these are 4 books that will definitely fulfill this challenge. It really depends on what I have time for, but I did talk about these books a little bit more in my end of the year or rest of the year TBR, which means that these are all books I want to finish before the end of the year. Challenge number 4, read a book you lost your head over, aka overhyped book. So for this one, there are 3 options. A lot of these actually have multiple options just because I have a lot of books that will fulfill these challenges and I don't know which one I'll actually read. So the first one is this one. Mistborn is very much a hype book. I don't know if it's overhyped, but I definitely want to read this soon. The second option is Scythe, and the third option is Nevernight. Then the next challenge is read a sci-fi. So for this one, I'm going to go with Scythe just because it is a sci-fi novel for sure. It's like a dystopian novel. It follows the fact that we are now at a stage in the world where death no longer exists, and so there are these scythes who are these people who it's like a job essentially, and they go out and they actually have the ability to execute you, I guess. They're like sanctioned deaths, and so that's kind of how it works, and the series follows 2 people who are training to be scythes, and that's all I know about it. But it's a very, very hyped up book, so I'm really hoping I enjoy it too. Then the next challenge is read anything you desire. For this one, I have nothing planned out right now just because there's so many books on here that I desire, so it literally can be anything. So yeah, it's like really much open in the air right now. The next challenge is read a book with revenge. For this one, I'm gonna go with Nevernight because I believe it's literally about Mia, who goes off to, I want to say like a boarding school or an abbey, a convent, something like that, and she trains to be an assassin, and her parents or her family was murdered way back when, and the book just kind of follows her revenge for them. I feel like that's the plot. Clearly I'm just not really sure because I have not really looked at it for a very long time. It's just a book slash series I just really want to read as soon as possible, but I'm pretty sure that is the plot and that would definitely fulfill this challenge. Then the next challenge is read a book with a portal to another world. For this one I'm going to go with, it's kind of a stretch to be honest, but I'm gonna go with A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmer. So book 1 is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, where the main girl, she ends up being transported to this fairyland, which is where the beast was at, and so she ends up living there trying to break this curse, etc. And so in this book it follows the guard of the prince. His name is Ren, and so this book really follows Gray's perspective. And so even though this is technically not Harper's perspective, which is the main girl, I'm pretty sure she will still be portaling back and forth between the real world and the magical world. So I feel like this book kind of works, but honestly, until I read it, I don't really know. But as of right now, this will be the placeholder for this challenge. Then the last and final challenge for this particular readathon is read a book featuring vampires. So for this one, I'm going to go with The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I'm so excited for this book. This book takes place in New Orleans and has vampires in it, obviously, and it's supposed to be the book that brings back vampires, which I feel like there's a lot riding on its shoulder, and I hope that it lives up to its hype, because can you imagine vampires coming back, like making a comeback? Because I honestly cannot, and I don't know, apparently this book will bring those back. So really excited for this one. Other than that, I don't know too much about it, but I've heard some pretty positive reviews thus far. Okay, so that is it for my first readathon. So again, I will link all the information down below. So moving on to my second readathon, which is the other month-long readathon. So 2 of these are month-long and 2 of these are, I think, week-long readathons. But the second readathon that I'm participating in is the one that Carrie is organizing, and that one is the Italian Heritage Month Reading Challenge, which I don't know if you can tell, but I am not Italian at all. So I'm really just doing this for supporting her, and that's kind of it. So there are just a few challenges here. It's very simple as well. The first challenge is Famiglia. Gosh, I definitely butchered these names. Okay, a book with an Italian connection, author, character, or setting. So this is the one prompt that I'm not really sure yet, just because I can't think of any off the top of my head. I did read one recently, but I already finished that September, so that didn't count. And the few that I've looked at, I read way back when, so I didn't really want to reread them. So I'm going to have to think about this a little bit more and come back to you guys. But as of right now, this is very much in the air. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know down below, because honestly I am stumped with this one. Then the second challenge is Antipasto, first book in a series. So again, I have many books that will fulfill this challenge. I have Mistborn here, which is book 1 in this trilogy. Then I have Scythe, which is also book 1, as well as Nevernight. Then the next challenge is Vino, which is to read a guilty pleasure book. So for this one, I'm going to go with Crazy Rich Asian book number 2 by Kevin Kwan. I just feel like this book is a very much a feel-good kind of book. It's very hysterical, it's a rom-com, and I just feel like it's definitely a guilty pleasure book for sure. The next challenge is Lasagna, read a thick book. I am gonna go with Kingsbane by Claire Legrand. This is definitely a thick baby, so I am really excited for it. I mean, this has been on my TBR for so long, and I just feel so bad for having not read it yet, because I really enjoyed the first one. So yeah, I mean, hopefully I will read this as soon as possible. And the next challenge is Panettone, which is to reread a favorite. So for this one, I'm going to go with Cruel Prince or Wicked King, just because I kind of want to do a reread before Queen of Nothing comes out, and so I feel like this will be the perfect time for me to do a reread. So I'm really excited because I want to know what happens to Jude and Carden, and I definitely want to reread the series just so I can be immersed into the story again. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try to read those 2 books sometime this month. And the final challenge for this, it's not really a readathon, I want to say, it's more like a reading challenge, but that one is Sauce vs Gravy, read a book with mixed reviews. So for this one, oh God, I definitely have the perfect one for this one, and this one is Getting the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This book has gotten so many mixed reviews. I feel like when I was at BA, all I heard was extremely positive reviews of everyone's favorite books of all time, etc, etc. And then I think after people started to read it after BA, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. So like, I'm really curious for myself, but this is definitely a mixed review book for sure, and I'm so excited to see which side I'm on, I guess. So on to my third readathon. This one is called Spooktober, and it runs between October 25th to October 31st. Again, all information will be down below. This one is probably the most comprehensive readathon just because it has so many prompts. Again, there's a very pretty image here that I will show here, and it has a ton of reading challenges, so here's hoping. It's actually a month-long thing, but the readathon itself is only for this 1 week. So anyways, going down the list very quickly, the first challenge is Sunflower Field. Read a book with a flower on the cover. So for this one, I'm going to go with either a Bloodleaf, which I believe this is a flower, so that definitely fulfills that challenge, or I'm going to go with the Beautiful. And this one isn't really a flower, but it has a ton of rose petals, so I feel like this will count for sure. Then the next challenge is Hayride. Read a book with a journey or a quest. So I have a few options for this one as well. I have Gideon the Ninth here. I also have Nevernight, and I have Mistborn. So I feel like all three of these have some sort of quest or mission or journey that they're going through, either the characters go through or just the plot itself. So I feel like one of these books would definitely fit. Then the next challenge is Corn Maze. Read a book that will have twists and turns. Once again, I'm going to do a reread of Cruel Prince or Wicked King. I'm going to do a reread of both of them, to be honest, but I mean either one will definitely fulfill this challenge because there are so many twists in that story. Like, I cannot wait for Queen of Nothing to come out, guys. Okay, anyways, next reading challenge after that is Haunted House. Read a spooky book. So for this one, I'm going to go with The Anomaly, which, okay, actually, let me show you guys the dust jacket. The Anomaly. This one is about a guy, his name is Nolan, I believe, and he is some sort of archaeologist, but not really. Instead, he goes on these sort of like TV show in a way, like these YouTube channel, whatever, and he has these shows where he goes off and explores all these caves, these archaeological sites, etc., but in a way that a lot of actual archaeologists hate him for. So then one day he decides to go to a cave that has been talked about once, and I feel like no one has ever talked about it again. He doesn't know if it actually exists, so he and his crew ends up going to that cave to check it out. And then once they get there, things start to happen, and it's supposed to be kind of a thriller, mystery, suspense novel, and I feel like it has some eerie vibes to it as well because it's a cave. I feel like all those like crazy scary movies have caves involved in there, and they're just like these creatures that live inside, and I don't know, they just scare the shit out of me. So I feel like this book would definitely be spooky. And the next challenge is Pumpkin Patch. Read a book with orange on the cover. For this one, once again, I'm going to go with The Anomaly, which, I mean, this dust jacket definitely has some sort of orangey, like reddish orange tones to it, but I'm going to count as orange. I mean, the spine also has orange too, so this one definitely counts. So the next challenge I have is Apple Picking. Read a book someone picked for you. So for this one, I'm going to go with Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, just because one, this book has been on my TBR for a very long time, and two, I had so many people telling me I have to read this book, so I mean, this is the book, guys. I'm gonna read this book for sure this time, hopefully. And the next challenge is Scarecrow. Read a book you've been scared to read. So this will have two options. One is Mistborn, which I feel like I mentioned this before. I've been a little bit intimidated to read this book just because it's like a very thick baby as well, and it's supposed to be the book, and I have so many expectations going in, so I really want to like it. And the second option is Nevernight, which is another book that kind of scares me because again, it has so much hype to it that I really hope it lives up to it. So either of those two books definitely fulfill this challenge. The next one is Ferris Wheel. Read a book with unique perspectives. This one, again, I don't really have a book picked out for this one because I don't really know what perspectives the book is in until I actually read it, unless it's a very clear one. So if you have any recommendations, let me know down below. But as of right now, I think I'm gonna have to read these books and see maybe if one of these perspectives will be kind of weird, especially the ones with multiple POVs. Sometimes the perspective will be some random person and maybe it'll be kind of unique, I don't know. Then the next challenge is Petting Zoo. Read a book with an animal in it. So I want to go with Merciful Crow. I feel like there has to be an animal in it. I mean, it's got crows, right? Like, it's not the crow cast, but like, there has to be a crow. I mean, yeah, I feel like it has to be. Otherwise, I'm not sure. But otherwise, this is the book for now. Like, these are all tentative, I want to say, until I actually read them. Then the next challenge is Face Painting. Read a book that features transformations. So once again, I'm going to go with A Heart So Fused and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This one is kind of a stretch again because it's not really the main guy. This one follows Grace's perspective, and he didn't have any transformation. So I'm going to go with him anyways because, like, this is still kind of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, right? Like, kind of, but I don't know, maybe it's not a physical transformation, maybe it's like a mental transformation. So I'm gonna pretend this fits, okay guys? Like, this is the one that I'm going to fulfill this challenge for. And the next challenge is bobbing for apples. Read a book featuring water. So for this one, I'm gonna go with an audiobook, and that is A Girl from Everywhere. I believe this one's about a girl, something to do with her father, and she's on some sort of ship. And that's kind of all I know about it. This won't be an audiobook, so hopefully I like it. The next challenge is pie eating contest. Devour a book in 24 hours. So this one, I don't actually have any book in particular because I won't know until I actually read it within 24 hours. And then last one is bonfire. Read a book while being warm and cozy. So again, I don't have a book picked out for this one because it can literally be any of these books. Oh, I forgot a challenge. The last challenge for real this time is candy apple. Enjoy a book while eating a fall treat. So for this one, I don't have anything picked out because literally any of these books will fulfill the challenge. It just depends on the fall treat. So I have a lot of like spooky events happening that I really want to go to. So I'll definitely get a treat there, and hopefully I'll eat it while reading a book, or at least a portion of this book. So those are the 3 readathons. Now the last and final readathon is the Witchathon, which is I'm so excited for. I like participated for all of them except for one this entire year, so of course I was like, I need to participate in it, and I'm so excited for it. This one runs between October 24th to 31st, so it's basically the same week as Spooktober except for one day. But yeah, I will include all information down below. So as always, there's only 7 reading challenges, I want to say. Yeah, 7 reading challenges. The first one is Samhain is a time for honoring your ancestors. So once again, pick a book that features your heritage. So this one's gonna be a stretch again because I'm gonna go with Crazy Rich Asians, book number 2. I really need to figure out the name of this book. But I'm gonna go with this book because even though I am not Singaporean, even though I don't have a very rich heritage, I feel like the idea of Rachel being an ABC, which for me, I'm like ABT because I'm American born Taiwanese, was really the definition of my heritage, because there's a quote in the movie and in the book, I believe, where the mother was telling Rachel that even though you look Chinese on the outside, but inside you're American. I feel like that pertains to me a lot because even though I look Asian on the outside, but inside I'm definitely American because that's the culture I was raised upon and that's what I know. So I feel like her background really matches my background, so I feel like that's like my heritage, you know? So I'm gonna make that work. The next challenge is this Sabbath is a time when the veil is thinnest. Pick a book that features communing with the dead, ghost, or mediumship, or necromancy. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Getting the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This one is about necromancers, something to do with space, and it's with the LGBT as well. And that's kind of all I know about it, and I believe that there's like many houses. That's what's called Gideon the Ninth, because Gideon is part of the 9th house, and this would be a bunch of other houses too. But I've heard mixed reviews again, so I'm really excited to see if I like it or not. The next challenge is we are heading into the darkest part of the year. Pick a book that promises to be dark and twisted. So this one I have 2 options. One is going to be Nevernight, and the second one is going to be Gideon the Ninth. The next challenge is witches often make offerings to spirit guides or gods. Pick a book that involves a pantheon of deities. This one I'm going to go with, I feel like it's a stretch again, because I'm going to go with Silence of the Girls. So this one is a Greek mythology. It's about the aftermath of Troy, like the War of Troy, where it features like the woman and the children and kind of what they had to face during that time period. So because it's a Greek mythology, I feel like there's definitely some sort of deities involved, like, I don't know, Ares or Hermes or something like that. So that's why I'm putting it for this challenge, just because I feel like they'll be involved somehow, but whether or not they're actually in this book, I don't really know. So that's why it's a stretch. Anyways, the next challenge is Dancing Around the Bonfire, the Samhain tradition. Pick a book that has fire on the cover. Okay, this one is also going to be a stretch. Okay, it's not a stretch, but this one is tentative because I don't know if I want to read this book right now. And this one's called Ash Lords. This one, the reason why I don't want to read this right now is because it doesn't come out until like end of January, and I kind of want to read a book that comes out sooner rather than later, or a book that came out already is on my TBR. That way I can put this off until later when it comes out, like closer to this release date. So if you have any recommendations, let me know down below, but I couldn't find any books that have a fire on this cover. And the next challenge is many celebrate the Sabbath as Halloween and dress up. Post a picture of your costume and tag the readathon. So this one is, I mean, there's no books involved, so pretty straightforward here. Then the last and final challenge is to read a group book, and that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. So this is the group book. I feel like we're just reading this one will fill so many challenges, so I'm really excited for it. So anyway, those are all the books I'm going to read for these readathons. It's a very long list, but I feel like I have a lot of dupes in here, so hopefully I will be able to finish most of them. By the way though, I have so many good books on here that I really want to read, so I'm so excited for it. So before I finish this video, I do want to say once again, all the information for all the readathons will be down below for you guys to check it out. But anyways, that's all to say for this video. If you have any recommendations for any of the ones I had asked for earlier, please let me know down below because I need them badly. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!